this computer. Okay, great. Okay, so we'll start now because there's a lot of content to be covered today. Are there any other FD people coming in, or like, do you know? It's quite important today.
I already told them to come. John is coming in.
Okay. So when they come in, then we will see how it goes out. Okay, I'm muting everyone. Okay, so let me adjust this thing first. Okay, so let's watch a video first while we wait for other people to come in. This is like what happens at the crypto ICO.
When you think about the creation of money, you think about places like this or this. But what if money was created here in a Brooklyn loft by a group of young entrepreneurs and data nerds? The company is called AirSwap. The founders all met at either Burning Man or business school, and they envisioned a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchange. Today, they're launching their ICO, or initial coin offering. An ICO is sort of like an IPO, but instead of buying shares, investors buy tokens.
This process is entirely crypto, so you cannot use, for example, a fiat currency like a dollar to purchase our tokens. So we're selling our tokens for Ether, which is effectively a digital currency.
Most people buy tokens in the hopes that they'll increase in value, much like shares of a company.
Because this is a global sale, we need to be available to people in different time zones.
So the sale is going to run for 24 hours, and by the end, we will have approximately $35 million.
What will they do with all that money? Well, to understand this, you need to know a little bit about blockchain. Now, let me keep this really simple. A blockchain is a virtual public ledger that keeps any and every exchange watertight and protected from fraud or hacking. Experts agree that blockchain is poised to revolutionize the way we do business in the future. Using this groundbreaking technology, AirSwap is building an exchange that removes all middlemen. Lawyers, clearinghouses, banks, and even governments will be bypassed with this new peer-to-peer system.
The same way that the internet and telecommunications allow for peer-to-peer information transfer, you're seeing this now happen with blockchain, where you have peer-to-peer value transfer.
I think one of the reasons why people are looking at this is really started in 2008, when people's confidence in the financial system was really shaken to the core. And all these intermediaries that people trusted fell short, and people are looking for an alternative in which you and I can exchange value without the need of depending on these institutions that we used to trust.
The demand for this decentralized exchange is high, something AirSwap capitalized on by using social media to build a worldwide online community in anticipation of their ICO.
This is basically a live world map of all the orders that we have coming through the system. It updates live and in real time.
This is the AirSwap community.
Yeah, they're very excited. So they're posting memes.
We're probably around 23 million right now. I can actually check. Yeah, we're at 23 million.
The 24-hour-long token sale wasn't without its hitches. Several well-designed fake accounts tried to scam members of the AirSwap community out of their Ether.
But this is a phishing scam.
Right now, I'm crafting an announcement to alert the community to several what are actually very well done websites that are trying to convince people that they are us. So we need to actively expose them.
The imposters were eventually shut down, and sales resumed uninterrupted throughout the night and into the next morning.
Right now, we have just around 13 minutes left until the sale is over. It's been a very tough 24 hours.
It's already sold. We've sold out our entire allocation.
All right, we've got 5,000 token holders, everybody.
By the end of the ICO, AirSwap had raised what is now valued at over $50 million of Ether, issuing all of their available tokens worldwide.
By most, if not all measures, we can call it a success.
But the playing field is flooded with ICOs right now. In 2016, there were fewer than 50 ICOs. In 2017, that number jumped to over 250. Now, everyone from Overstock.com to Kodak, yes, Kodak, has jumped onto the cryptocurrency bandwagon and launched their own ICOs. No one knows who will survive the hype, and AirSwap remains a relative newcomer. But they remain optimistic that their global community of thousands of token holders will push them to dominance, all from this Brooklyn loft. And in the bleary landscape of cryptocurrency, that's worth something.
Hello morning, hello week.
Okay, awesome. So actually, welcome people who just joined. Don't worry, this is just the first slide. So it's a video on what goes on in an ICO. And basically, ICO stands for Initial Coin Offering. It is basically a mechanism to print money from thin air, if you think about it. Okay, but why not we go one round? Because I just want to see if our definitions are aligned. You can, okay, Andre, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Can you tell me what you understand by an ICO?
I mean, to me, is that ICO is quite similar to IPO, except it's less regulations. You go to the private and public markets to raise funds by selling your tokens.
Okay, good. Dr. Soon, can you go next? Dr. Soon? Okay, never mind. Gabriel, can you go next?
ICO is just public offering of whatever you developed, in a sense. Yeah.
Okay, good. John, can you go next? What is an ICO to you?
I think it's just like like the initial kind of when you're offering a new shares in the company, it's something along those lines, lah. So in this case, it's the initial offering of the coin.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Paul, can you go next?
To me, it's just a very easy way to raise money with much less regulations.
Very good, very good. Thank you everyone for sharing your perspective. Everyone is correct actually. And for John, Dr. Soon and Andre, they are actually part of this team that will do an ICO next year. So this lecture actually was designed for them and we can also learn as well. So something to keep in mind is also to consider whether ICO is also something outdated or not. Because currently the hype that is very reminiscent of ICO in 2017 is actually our decentralized finance movement, which we will actually talk about next week. So this is the foundation of whatever that is going on next week. Then you can see like parallels and similarities, and then you can see how it goes. Okay, great. So today's agenda is very, how should I put it? It's more like a how-to manual. So you can replicate this system. This is a system. You can replicate it very easily. And the challenge is actually in your PR, marketing, and community building, not the tech. Never the tech. It's always, because now tech, more or less everyone's using the same tech. It's the same logic as your cloud computing. So everyone's using the same tech. You need to differentiate yourself in the business aspect. Yeah. So this is the agenda. We'll cover everything today. Okay. So what is an ICO? ICO is known as initial coin offering. So it functions like an initial public offering, though through which listed companies raise capital. Very rightly, like what Paul said, ICO has less regulation. And later I'll show you some what the MAS said about ICO. It's quite elegant system. So people participate in ICO and get coins in return for their investment. The word investment is in like a philosophy, right? Because there is a strict difference in certain country between utility token and security token. So once you say it's investment, automatically it is a security token, and security token has another set of rules in places like China, Korea, and USA. So even if you want to sell it as an investment, it's good not to say that it's an investment. We have to find another word for it. Even in your pitches, it's very sensitive issue because in certain countries, people do record your speech, and once you use the word investment, the security rule will apply, and that is not very beneficial to the company. So tokens and coins are tradable and beneficial for both the participants and the creators of the ICO. So I give you an example. I remember in 2018 January, like everything was like all-time high. Like now, you see everything all-time high. It's like something repeating. It's really a repeating cycle. And then so for me, right, I really anyhow buy coins lah. Like I basically bought coins to support my friend's project. So there was this very useless coin. I think it's quite useless now, but I'm like, okay, that's my small amount to support my friend. It's by Success Resources. So they did an ICO, and I bought their Success Life coin to support like some people who have been very nice to me, like the founders basically. So basically the coin price after listing, right, it crashed by 90%. And then of course there were very, in my opinion, very greedy people. I don't say this in a depreciating manner, but there were very greedy people who bought like 100,000 worth of the coin. So it dropped by 90%. And then what happened was that even though it's a utility token, they couldn't use it to purchase classes like your Tony Robbins class, because Success Resources, also being very shrewd as a company, they did not allow 100% of redemption through token. So it got very complicated, and a lot of people tried to report them to MAS, but MAS did not take the case. The other alternative was actually to file a criminal lawsuit, a class action lawsuit actually. So apparently not enough people, because you need at least 30 people, if I'm not wrong, to actually start a class action lawsuit, which did not happen. So in the end, they're still okay, they're still working, and yeah, things still go as per normal. So what I'm saying is that when we do an ICO, right, it is very important to make sure that there is value for both the participants and the creators of the ICO beyond just making a quick buck. That is very important to ensure, because if that condition is not present, people are going to say that the project is a scam. Okay, so how do we come up with the idea for our ICO? So it's back to basics. How do we come up with the idea for a business? It's the same thing. If we don't have the answer of how do we come up with an idea for a business, then forget about doing ICO, because people will just think it's a scam. Okay, number one, ensure that your your project fulfills a market need. So market need is defined as pain points. There needs to be a pain point. And remember that need is different from market need. Value is different from market value. You may personally value anything you want, like subjectively or objectively. However, it need not be a market value. So I can value my phone, like this phone, at I can value it like at $10,000, because there are a lot of pictures inside that of memory. So I value that as a value of 10,000, but the market value might just be like 500, more than that. Okay, 500 for instance. So we have to be very, very careful that it's a market need. And how do we define market need? Is when people pay for your product. So people can say whatever they want. They can say very nice things to support you, but if they don't put money, it does not fulfill a market need, period. So always go by revenue. So usually there are two ways, like maybe 90% of the market, they will go according to pain point. Pain point is associated with a fear or with very basic emotions. So fear, you have the Maslow hierarchy of needs, the very basic one, your lack of shelter, lack of food, lack of water. Things like loneliness is an emotional pain point, for instance. So basically identify the pain point, and then Okay, actually, Tony, if you want to find out emotional pain points, right, it's also possible. Go and read Tony Robbins' 6 emotional needs that all human beings have. The one on security, variety, your need for higher esteem, higher levels of fulfillment. So there are 6 emotional pain points, and the rest are just like physical pain points. This 90% of the market. Then you have the 10% of the market who are already very happy. There's no void in them, and they're going for aspirational goals like luxury goods. If they are really very happy, too much money, and then they just want to spend on luxury good like wine or things like a nicer house. Yeah, these are aspirational goals. But remember your 10%, right? Is, I mean, aspirational people who are already very fulfilled, very happy, and they're going for aspirational stuff, right? They are actually 10%. It's harder to market to them. Okay, number 2, ensure that you have a unique selling point against your competitors. As the video showed just now, ICO market is actually very, very competitive. So you need a unique selling point against your competitors. And you not only need to know it, you need to communicate it well. And then number 3, understand your market needs and your target audience keenly. It's important to launch something that people are willing to prepay for or invest their money. Meaning that because for utility tokens, like what AppD is doing, basically ICO is saying that, okay, you can put money now, I'll give you additional tokens so that you can use in our ecosystem in the future. So this is the communication messaging. Instead of like saying that, you know, our coin price will definitely go out in future. By the way, in all communications, don't use the word guarantee or definitely because it's very scammy. We cannot guarantee anything. Nobody can guarantee anything. It's just illusion of control. Yeah, so just be very careful about it. Okay, then not every idea is a good fit for ICO. Like, why would you need to tokenize t-shirts? Yes, ICO is a good way to do fundraising, but if the product doesn't need blockchain, let's say to verify identity, to make sure let's say for the case of AppD, people health records are very sensitive, so mental wellness records are also very sensitive. So yes, you need blockchain to make sure that the patient or the person involved or the family of the person involved can actually transfer the data securely with permission, and there's a record of the permission. However, things like t-shirt, there is no need for tokenization. Like, why would you want to tokenize it? That one is very strange. Unless we are making an argument for a limited edition t-shirt, or we are making an argument of like one t-shirt that's worn by this guy who died, this famous guy who died, then okay, then let's just use the ERC 721 to make sure that, you know, it's a tokenized representation on the blockchain. However, the thing is that even if you use ERC 721, you do not need to do an ICO. So it's very suspicious. Basically, how to check whether a project needs ICO or not, we go by whether blockchain technology is needed or not. Okay, next, right, is coin purchasers are not idiots. So if you are creating a project that's using tokens or coin unnecessarily, it will invite unnecessary scrutiny. So here are some factors that will make your projects a good fit for ICO. Number 1, blockchain technology should actually power core aspects of your business. In that, Andre said, yes, someone tokenized a bicycle, yeah, ridiculous. Yeah, okay. In that, it actually serves the actual purpose and use case. So the blockchain technology must solve a real problem. It should not solve something that's superficial. Of course, in the white paper, like very experienced white paper writers will kind of smoke it. That's why you need to know your foundations well, and to know it well, to know the use case application, go back to lecture 2, which is on the use case of blockchain. Number 2, multiple parties should be involved in your project rather than single party. This means that there should be an ecosystem involved ideally. Think about think about membership loyalty cards. Let's say I have a loyalty card in, actually I do have, let me see. Actually, I don't have it in my phone now. Okay, but like, let's say Typo, right? if you have a typo card, I think it's called perks, P-E-R-K-S. So if you have perks card, right, you can go to Cotton On, you can go to typo, you can go to the associated companies and like get points or like get discount. So ecosystem is very important because shopping at typo and getting the card means that I can also use the same card in Cotton On, which benefits me, right? So in the AppD, right, for AppD situation, remember that it's not just one company we are targeting, it's the whole ecosystem. So as long as the verticals and the horizontal, the peripheral partners also agree to use AppD tokens, it would be beneficial to AppD. Another example that is not blockchain is like Grab. Grab now goes into, you can use Grab Pay for food, for Grab Food, for Grab Grocery, etc., etc. So, you know, they are targeting the ecosystem. The more partners you have in an ecosystem, the better. Okay, and number 3, the ideal project should be for a global audience, because global audience, global market, global retail investors is like way bigger than your domestic one. Yeah, so if it's a universal human pain point, that would be good, which I think AppD has, so it's quite promising. Okay, next, how do you how do you build a team for your ICO? So after having a plan and overview for your project, you should have a good estimate of how many people you need for a successful ICO. So in your team, you should have content writers, designers, legal consultants. Legal consultants are very important because you don't want to get into trouble with the law. Programmers, community managers. So if possible, have advisors on board also who has ran like successful ICO prior. And then more importantly, make sure your team members are reliable and trustworthy, preferably with track records in their chosen expertise. Next, is ICO legal in your country? So before participating in any ICO projects or creating an ICO, always research the legal side of things and find out if ICO is legitimate in your country. So ICO are legal in most regions, but banned like in countries like China and South Korea. So the decision to ban ICO as a fundraising tool was made as the government sees such issue as like financial scams. Basically, in China, there are a lot of MLM. And sometimes the Chinese government is quite hard on like Ponzi schemes plus blockchain in China. Well, they're still surviving. And the way they market in China is very sophisticated because you will never see anything on Facebook. You will see it on WeChat. And WeChat ban, particularly they ban groups, you know, to sort of like spread or influence other people to join the MLM. So what happens is that, of course, Chinese people, they are really smart when they're doing their own MLM, right? So they use the money they raise to start a communication social media channel for their MLM. So the MLM actually has a social media app just for the MLM, and it's actually not a bad. The way they designed it, right, was really cool. I mean, like if I'm not in the MLM, but I still download and I read news, because they basically automatically curate news, right, blockchain news in Chinese on the app itself. So I download to read the news that they curated in Chinese. So that it's a very, very fast moving. Yeah, so imagine the MLM app, right, can have this kind of standard, and I think it's like it's just pretty awesome. Okay, so basically what I mean here is that in China, even though it's like illegal, there are still ways to go about it. There are still ways to like, you know, do your crypto MLM if you want to. So yeah, because money laundering is a global concern, that's why in US and China, there were decisions made like this. So then please always ensure to take legal advice prior. Okay, so let me talk a bit about Howey's test. Typically, US regulators invoke the Howey's test to dictate whether a stock, bond, or even an ICO offers a utility or security. Utility token means like you already have a product and you are using the token to pay for services or the product. But security is more of an investment tool. That means there are explicit promises made in the prospectus or in any written or verbal experiences that the coin price will increase by 5, 10, 15x over a period of time. So this is the Howey test to determine whether utility or security. So should an ICO pass the Howey test stipulations, is commonly thought to be offering a security. Number one is an investment of money. Number two, there's expectation of profit. Number three, investment of money is a common enterprise, in a common enterprise. And number four, any profit that come from the effort of a promoter or the third party. So usually if you think about it, most ICOs have all of the four elements, and most would be considered a security. So how do we, in the US context, position the coin as a utility token is actually pretty difficult. The reason why people want to position as utility rather than security is because they don't want to be regulated in USA. So given that securities hold value outside of the cryptocurrency product they stem from, definition traditionally means that such investment can be subject to taxes. So actually everything in Singapore is also subject to tax, like including cryptocurrencies. I know a few ICO companies, right, they did not pay tax. Basically, they did not pay tax and they kept quiet about it because there's no way to track like legally currently in Singapore. And yeah, they're very open about not paying tax. Okay, next question is ICO legal in Singapore? So ICO is legal in Singapore. However, there is no protection to buyers by law. So MAS will not be able to help purchasers in any way if they lose money from dealing with digital tokens that are not product regulated by MAS. So even if the entity is like regulated by MAS, your token is not regulated by MAS. So as for cryptocurrencies, person that buy or sell cryptocurrencies or facilitate the exchange of cryptocurrency may be regulated under the Payment Service Act 2019. So PSA actually come out in 2019. It details, it tried to control, okay, they came out with this act because they want to combat money laundering. And basically MAS tried to control like the know your customers system. So basically if anyone wants to buy Bitcoin, and if they buy from an unauthorized source, right, then basically the unauthorized source will get into trouble. Yeah. So, okay, however, they are not required to protect your cryptocurrency and are not required to ensure each cryptocurrency transaction is processed properly. So basically, let's say the deal is done when you pay money to this entity and the entity transfer you the Bitcoin, then it's done. So let's say after that your Bitcoin wallet is like lost, right? It's not their problem. So MAS regulates cryptocurrency service providers under the Payment Services Act mainly for money laundering and financial terrorism financing risk only. I can't pronounce it. Yeah, so remember that MAS perspective, right, they just want to combat money laundering. It's not to protect consumers. They just don't want to have financial money laundering. Okay. So the last point, right? If you suspect that an investment officer could be fraudulent or misused for any lawful activities, report the police. What this means is that reporting to police also not very useful, I feel, because police need a lot of time to investigate. How I know, right? Because I report a lot of times really. Like, let me think. Okay, for MAS, my dealing with MAS is quite extensive. I've like every year at least twice I will call MAS and then we will have a long chat, or like we will talk over email, things like that, because I wanted to clarify things like the law and how cryptocurrency dealings are being dealt with. When it goes to criminal case, right, usually yeah, like Andre said, report police, no use, no action taken. They say it's a lawyer case. Not necessarily true. If you thing that is financial, if money laundering is involved or you have very suspicious financial activities, you can report to police because they are supposed to help you deal with money laundering. However, right, they will not close the case. It will just take very, very, very long, and there's no benefit to you. So it is easier for an individual to just move on, assuming that they don't have losses. Unless you want justice. For me, I talked to MAS and the police because I just wanted to know. It's good information for me. For MAS, how do you prevent yourself or your token purchasers from being scammed, or your retail investor friends from being scammed, is to actually check the investor alert list. I'll type it here. The question is that there is one gentleman. Okay, I can say it lah. Okay, PLMP, right? PLMP is they did their own coin, which actually from listing to the peak, right? I think it was times 15. So basically, if you put in $1, you get $15 back. And the founder had another company which is on the investor alert list, MAS investor alert list. So it's very interesting. Like, even though the entity may be on the investor alert list, it does not mean that the coin price will not go up. So there is this very interesting correlation going on. It's just something that we need to take note of. Yeah, but the idea is that even if you lose a lot of money, you cannot really report to MAS because they won't help. Okay, so let's take a look at the MAS required risk warning. For licensees, right? If you read this, you can see that licensees are required to declare this to all customers. So number one, your DPT is token payment, digital payment token service provider. So your DPT provider is licensed by MAS to provide your DPT services. So this does not mean that you will be able to recover all your money or DPT you paid to your service provider if your service provider's business fails. The business did not fail, so they can just close down and run away. And yeah, because cryptocurrency is considered a good in the eyes of the court, in the eyes of MAS. So, well, if the business fail, then it's just too bad. Oh, but there's a hack that I found out, right? So let's say, if in a white paper, right, the DPT service provider, they promise that within 1 year you will get to use your token and the product will come out within 1 year, right? And then after 2 years still haven't come out, right? You can actually go to a small claims court to say that the service was not provided, the promise was not made. However, the good was actually transferred because when you buy the $3,000, right? Let's say you buy $3,000 worth of token, the transaction is completed when you give $3,000 to the seller and the seller give you the token. That transaction is completed. However, you can still make a claim in small claim court and can make life very, very difficult for the DPT service provider. That is a kind of a hack, but you must really make sure that you're persistent, and it wastes a lot of time. Seriously, not worth it. How I know I tried before, but I wasn't against the DPT service provider. I was against a conman. So not worth it, really. It's a lot of time wasted, like really waste of time, and it's for such small amount. So number two, you should not transact in the DPT if you're not familiar with the DPT. Transacting in DPT may not be suitable for you if you are not familiar with technology that DPT services are provided. So number three, you should be aware that DPTs fluctuate greatly. So you should buy only if you are prepared to accept the risk of losing all your money. So the same thing for exempted payment service providers. Exempted means that they are in the process of applying for a license. So it does not mean that they don't need a license. They still need a license. They are applying for it. So they are exempted. So it's the same warning. The next question is, does anyone not need a license in Singapore? The answer is, as long as you're in Singapore operating and providing and as a DPT, right, means that you're either buying or selling Bitcoin to people, you will actually need to be licensed. This is why Xfirst, right? Let me type it out. This is why Xfirst is a Singapore company lah. And this is why they are so important to a lot of other crypto players in Singapore, because they are in charge of collecting the Know Your Customers document. Okay, to be recognized as a DPT, right, you need to collect the Know Your Customer document, and then before you can transact, like buy and sell Bitcoin or buy and sell other cryptocurrency. If you don't have the Know Your Customer section, right, you basically cannot do it. So if exchanges want to keep things very clean in Singapore and don't want to bother themselves with like the Know Your Customer, then basically they will outsource it to Xfirst. This is why Xfirst is so important. And if the exchange like Binance, if they want to do the KYC themselves, like internally, they have to get a license. So getting a license, I can imagine is very, very tough journey. You probably need a lot of paperwork, a lot of patience. So this is why your DPT, they like DPT service providers, they like to outsource to Xfirst. Yes, so if they outsource Xfirst, they don't need license lah. And if they don't need license, which is great, because let's say if they run away one day, MAS cannot do anything. And well, like I don't think the police can do a lot as well, because if they run away, it's probably going to be a very sudden event, and they are probably going to plan it for a long time. So you see, it's very risky to put your funds in a tier 2 or tier 3 crypto exchange, because really there's no guarantee. You don't even have the MAS to help you. And MAS overtly say that they are not going to help you already. So yeah. Okay, next, how do you create an ICO token? So the concept wise, right, you need to make sure that the business unique selling point makes sense. You need to communicate what you are doing better than your competitors. Number 2, storytelling. Think of the most appropriate way to describe your ICO brand concept to token purchases. Next, security. Things like hackers while creating a token. Like think of ways to hack your own system. Number 4, choose the development method wisely. To create a new token, you can either use the existing blockchain for a blockchain or develop your own blockchain from scratch. All these have pros and cons. It's not necessarily that it's not necessarily bad to develop your own blockchain from scratch. However, I mean, initial high costs are involved. So if you use the ERC20 token, which is on Ethereum blockchain, it might be very convenient. However, whatever you are doing, right, you're actually increasing the value of the Ethereum blockchain and Ether, not really directly of your own coin. So that's something to note as well. Okay, so after creating your token, take time to plan your tokenomics and decide how many coins you are going to distribute. So also need to know what the allocation among the team, how many coins will be burned or sold, and under what circumstances you'll be issuing additional token. Okay, so now let's watch a video that's like super easy. How to create ICO token using Wave blockchain. Wave just had a breakout. Like, I think the price is shooting up. I hold a lot of Wave, so I'm like, I also don't know what's going on. But Wave is a very good system because the speed is very, very fast. The TPS is very fast. And it's very easy to create. So let's watch Wave first, then we watch a bit of Ethereum.
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to show you how to make your own token or coin in 5 minutes, right? At the most. That's if you're slow. So there's a couple ways to do this, right? You can obviously do it on Ethereum, but what I think is probably the easiest way, or one of the easiest ways, is using Waves. So what you have to do is download the Waves client from the Waves website for your desktop. And this is awesome. This is the DEX, this is your wallet, this is where you can keep your portfolio, and also where you can create coins, right? So to do this, you have to make sure you have at least 1 wave. So for this wallet, I sent over 1.6 waves just so that I have some in here to do it. And it is super, super easy. So what you do is you go right here and you click this bottom button. And this is for token generation, right? So you can create your token and create any name you want. So what I'm gonna create is, I'm gonna make the best token ever. So it's gonna be best. You can write a description. You cannot change this later. So you can say this is the greatest token ever created in the history of tokens. Why? Because I made it. Okay, so that's obvious, right? That should be the obvious description for this. So total tokens. If you highlight this, you're gonna pick right here either reissuable or non-reissuable. So this field defines the total token supply that your asset will contain. Reissuability allows for additional tokens to be added to the supply after it's made. Non-reissuability assets will be permanently limited to the token supply. So we're gonna do a reissuable one right now in case we wanna make more. And we're gonna do, let's do 1 million tokens. Okay, and then decimals, this is the number of basically like decimal points after the initial decimal, or basically how many times your token can be divisible, right? So I think more is better for this, so we're gonna do 8 and best. So that's our symbol, 1 million tokens, the fee of 1 waves, and then we're gonna generate it, okay? So best, here's your description, the total number, and then you're gonna confirm it. Okay, view details. And for some reason, this box pops up like this, and then you can just exit it out. And then once you can do, it should be ready to go. You can go back over to your portfolio and you see right here, best. So there we go. Oh, where'd it go? Hold on. Best, okay. So best, here's the symbol, 1 million. And then if you wanted, at any moment, you can basically click right here. You can send it. And so if I want to send it to someone else, put in their address, however much you want to send, you want to do that. So it's really fun. Like in my private group, somebody created Rush, which is our token for the group, which is pretty cool. They created it and sent it out to everybody. So, and you guys can do this amongst friends, right? I mean, at the core of all this stuff, I mean, yes, you have the endless debate of what is the true currency and all these different things, right? But what you guys can do is you can create cool tokens amongst friends or your own for your business, and it's so easy to do. And I honestly think that Waves is probably the easiest way to do it. I mean, that took 5 minutes only because I'm ranting and making it longer than it has to be. But like I said, that's how you make your own token in under 5 minutes. So enjoy. Make tokens, why not? And make sure they have some value, you know, or even just for fun, whatever you guys want to do. But I hope this helped. If you like this, please like the video and subscribe.
Okay, great. So he did it in like, I think 3 minutes. It's not very complicated. So for Waves, Waves is really, really speedy and fast, but it's not very popular. Why? Because of the lack of promotion in this region, or because Waves started off in Russia. So Russia is already a very suspicious reputation countrywide. So as compared to Ethereum, because Vitalik actually came to Singapore, you know, to like promote Ethereum for a while. So Ethereum, even though the technical competency is not as good as Wave, they had the PR side and the marketing side more better position than Wave. So that is their advantage. So, well, after seeing this 3-minute video, you realize how easy it is to create tokens. So, yeah, as he said, why not? Like, if you can create like ERC20 token, you can just, it's a matter of sales really. How much money you bring in, then with the money you bring in, you can do whatever you like. Of course, the smarter people, they will use the money to channel into the project, get very good PR, community building, very nice, swanky websites, or raise more money, use the money to hire more good salespeople to raise more money. Yeah, so it's actually not difficult, you know, like as in the mechanics and strategy, the processes are pretty much similar to MLM. That's why a lot of MLM people, they intuitively, they get it already, because right now, I mean, after being so used to selling nothing, for so many years. Now you can sell something that the law defines as a good, and you can generate it. Like for one wave I think it's $4, $4 USD. I'm not checking the price, but I think it's $4 USD. Yeah, and you can basically generate it at $4. You can generate 1 million, and if you sell 1 million, one coin of the 1 million coin at $1, you get $1 million already. So it's actually very easy money. It's a matter of sales and marketing and presenting yourself. Yeah, especially the pitch about the fear of missing out is a very strong pitch. Like if you tell someone, are you sure you don't want to buy it because next year it's going to be $10? So people will be thinking, okay, maybe I'll buy like $1,000. If I make a loss, it's just $1,000. Very interesting concepts. Okay, now let's quickly watch the Ethereum one. Ethereum is a bit more complicated.
In this video, we're making a coin.
So you probably need like a developer to do it. That's what I recommend. Yeah.
Really fast. So you can have easy access to the other videos as well. Let's get started. So here we have two web pages. The first one, the Ethereum Mist releases page. Mist is a wallet that we're going to be using to deploy contracts. It's an official wallet created by the Ethereum Foundation. So in version 11, they actually start connecting to remote nodes instead of downloading the full node. So if you've used version 10 or below, you know that it can take hours to sync. So if I were you, I would download one of these. But of course, this is the beta version and hotfixes could come up. So it's up to you if you would like to stick to version 10. Next, we have the simple token code, also created by the Ethereum Foundation. This is going to be an ERC20 token, and we're going to look at the constructor. So we will be supplying an initial supply, token name, and token symbol. So what happens here is total supply is set to initial supply multiplied by 10 to the amount of decimals. Next, we set the balance of the message sender to the total supply. So whoever creates this contract will have all the tokens created in their address. And then we set name to token name and symbol to token symbol. Cool. And now we will start at Mist. And this is where we will deploy a new contract. Remember to use an account with at least a few dollars of ETH. We'll go to a simple token code, scroll all the way to the bottom, and copy and paste into the section for source code in the Mist wallet.
Notice if you do it yourself, right? And if there's one line with an error, right, it's going to be very messy. So ask the developer to do it. There are also platforms that allow a one-click system, like the Waves, the previous video Waves, right? The interface, there are like third parties that have a ERC20 interface. However, it still take longer than Waves lah. Like it will take 10 minutes to do it, and you need to know certain terms like fungible or non-fungible. So you cannot do it as a beginner.
And now we will select the token ERC20 contract. And now we have the three inputs: initial supply, token name, and token symbol. For initial supply, let's put in 1 million. Token name, test token. I know this has probably never been done before. And token symbol, TST. And now scrolling down to the fee section, let's put it somewhere in the middle. And here, I usually like to check to see how much a transaction costs in dollars before running it. So we will multiply the ETH maximum fee by the current price of ETH. So this will be around 78 cents, which I happen to be cool with. Now enter my password and click send transaction. All right, it looks like it worked. And now we're gonna wait for 12 confirmations. You can also click on it and then click on the tax ID, bringing you to an Etherscan page. That's also another place that can keep you updated. But yeah, waiting on them 12 confirmations.
A few moments later.
All right, so it successfully confirmed over 12 confirmations. And now if we go to wallets, and if we go in here, we see 1 million TST that we can now send to our friends, our enemies, whoever.
Okay, so basically that's it. I created a ERC20 token before, but we never used it. Actually, like just now I was telling Andre, I'm meeting this girl tonight. And yeah, both of us, Wing and myself, we actually created this FOM token, ERC20. And yeah, we never ever used it. We just created for fun to see how the process was. Later I can show you.
In this video,
about it until today. Okay, so let's go on to a white paper. So in all ICO, right, you need a white paper. The white paper will tell the investor or the token purchaser what is the project about, what is the coin about, what's the token about, what the economics of the token. So white paper is a business document. Remember, it's a business document. It's not a technical document. Technical document is in something known as the yellow paper, which most people will not read. Yellow paper is more to appeal to your developers, not your token buyers. Okay, so the white paper contains the market analysis, development strategy, technology, architecture, crowdfunding, token distribution, and investors. Yes, so the technical documentation in the white paper should give valuable information to the token purchasers to satisfy them, but not detailed like code, because nobody ever read codes in the white paper. You just need to tell them the coin, whether you burn the coin or not, whether it's fungible or not, whether what else do they want to know? Or what blockchain is it on? Why that particular blockchain? Things like that. Is it inflationary or deflationary? Yeah. So it's important to hire a professional writer or proofreader who understands how to write the white paper and the technology behind the project. You can write it yourself, definitely, but it's good to have a proofreader if you do write it yourself. So a white paper would usually include claims or promises of, number one, raising funds to develop a new blockchain-based decentralized platform. Number two, providing exciting opportunities to invest in technologies, business, or assets. Number three, tokens that can be used to exchange for attractive benefits or monetary return. Number four, tokens that can be used to pay for goods and services offered on the platform. And number five, appreciation of token value over time due to reasons such as limited number of tokens. So all these are things that retail investors will look out for. So do write it in. Let me see, is there a question? How many blockchains are there? Ethereum, Zilliqa, anymore? Zilliqa is not technically a blockchain protocol. It is a solution to the Ethereum scalability problem. So there are a lot of blockchains. Like main blockchains, you have popular ones like Stellar Lumens, you have Ethereum, you have Waves, you have Tezos. Tezos is also based in Singapore, but recently they closed down because not enough business, not enough revenue. What else are popular ones? Others, okay, in China there are a lot lah, but the thing is that whenever they create a blockchain protocol, they are just using it for they do not have they do not start the protocol with the intention of like letting other people use it. They just build it for themselves to use. Polkadot is more for Polkadot, yes, also very closely partnered with Ethereum Foundation. They are doing for their decentralized finance. What else? Actually, most people, if they want to build a decentralized application, they will use Ethereum, which is why Ether is like ranking second to Bitcoin because of the decentralized application. One chain, yes, you can build decentralized application as well, but it's not as popular as Ethereum or some other thing. One chain, the main unique selling point of one chain, right, is that it can allow different blockchains to talk to each other. Because currently, if you are on Ethereum blockchain, right, whatever the app you have on the Ethereum blockchain cannot be talking to Stellar Lumen blockchain. So that is something that one chain can solve lah. They allow blockchain to talk to each other. Yep. This is a very good question, Paul, because I've been thinking for so long, right? Why do people sometimes choose Ethereum when the gas fee is so high over Stellar Lumens blockchain? Stellar Lumens is amazing. Like once you have your project on Stellar Lumens, immediately you can list on the Stellar Lumens crypto exchange. Then I realized that it's really about positioning and marketing and branding of the blockchain protocol itself. Because Stellar Lumens, the team, right, they don't have marketers on. They don't even care about PR and promotion. Like really don't care. So in the team, they just hired very good lawyers very good developers, and yeah, they just launched it, and then it became quite popular. Stellar Lumens also, they had a history with Ripple and not a good history. So you can check out on that later. Okay, next, right, is like, what is tokenomics? Because in the white paper, you definitely need to write about tokenomics. Okay, so tokenomics is the topic of understanding the supply and demand characteristic of the cryptocurrency. So how do you do effective tokenomics? So it should incentivize token usage. You should encourage people to use it, not to like hold on to it or dump it after you list. And the token should be used within your ecosystem, and the velocity of the token should be good. That means you need to make sure people actually use it and use it frequently. You also need to plan the tokenomics from the start to determine the future value of the token. Like number one, how many coins or tokens currently exist. Number two, how many will exist in the future and how will they be created. Number three, who own the coin? Will there be some set aside to be released in future to developers or content developers? Number four, is there any information to suggest that a large number of coins has been lost, burned, deleted, or somehow unusable? So when we design tokenomics, we want to ensure that we control the supply. So supply of tokens should ideally decrease over time. And because once you decrease the token over time, the value of the token is most likely to go up. In economics, it's actually the price of the token, but yes, it's kind of correlated in this sense. So some projects have created rules in which a certain number will be burned, like Tron. Oh, by the way, you can build things on Tron as well. Tron is like a copycat version of your Ethereum. It's like a Chinese Ethereum by Justin Sun. So, okay, so you can burn the coins, which means that it'll be transferred to a wallet that cannot be recovered at set intervals. So burning usually relates to operating fees, so that the more of an asset is used, the faster its token are burned. Okay, then next we have, you need to have a good ICO website. So you want to launch a website to introduce your project to investors and audiences. Make sure your website loads fast, securely, HTTPS. Also, it should include a link to the white paper, token sales structure, team members, and demonstration of your project. So yeah, here are some very simple tips lah, which I think AppD has already, so it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, you need a roadmap also that contain the goals and set timeframes. Okay, time frame is a bit trickier because usually, right, a lot of things were last minute issues will come up. So it is important to be very open and clear about it. Like for instance, I know this friend of mine, right, who was doing sales for this particular project. So originally they were supposed to launch last year or early this year, like January, February. So I supported my friend. I think I should stop supporting my friends with this kind of thing. But anyway, because yeah, I just felt they were good friends and I just support them, right? So I put money also. But the thing is that they delayed the ICO from last year, originally scheduled December, to now, right? They still have not carried out their ICO because of COVID-19, and they could not get enough funds to do the market making. So because of that, right, a lot of people's money is stuck. However, I was lucky because in April, my friend actually told me very honestly about it because he sold me the coins, right? So I actually asked for a refund and I got it. But currently up to 50,000 USD worth, right? Which was a transaction by the Singapore Bitcoin Club. That means like they put like 10 investors to get 50,000 to buy their coin. They did not get back the money. So it is actually quite a bad thing. So this kind of thing, right, from the ICO provider's perspective, time frame is actually very important because it might get you into trouble. It might get your whole reputation into trouble. So you need to be very careful. Yeah, so distribution of tokens is also mentioned on the website, which is under tokenomics. so shouldn't be a problem. Also, make sure to provide a reliable hosting service. Make sure the website loads, basically. Okay, at this point, anyone have any questions, please type in the chat. If there are no questions, let's take a 15-minute break. I know it's a bit heavy, so wait, let me see what time is it now. Now it's 3 o'clock. Let's come back at 3:15. Thank you. I just realized that every Saturday since 3 weeks ago, it has been raining at this time. Like, I mean, I'm in my office now, and like for the 3 consecutive Saturday, I've been seeing like dark clouds at this time. It's such a coincidence. Very interesting. Okay, let's wait for 1 more minute. Let me check my token. I just remembered. Wrong. So strange. Okay, I will share in the group after I find it. I just saw that Ethereum is 509 now. It's crazy, like so crazy. Like why something is wrong with the market now. Okay, let's continue. Okay, welcome back. So now before we start, let's watch a video. It's food for thought. What determines the value or buying power of a currency? Let's watch this guy. He's a famous guy in blockchain space.
What determines the buying power of the currency? How does it stabilize and what's required to stabilize it? So if I would buy some Bitcoins, who can manipulate the value of that? Everyone. The buying power of Bitcoin is determined in exactly the same way that the buying power of the euro, the British sterling, the Japanese yen, or the US dollar is determined through market forces of supply and demand in international liquid markets that operate around the clock. One of the fundamental differences is that Bitcoin trading never ceases, has been going continuously for 7 years. The network never stops. Every 10 minutes, Bitcoin's heart beats and transactions are processed. The exchanges never close. There is no closing price for Bitcoin. It is a rolling average. And in that trading, a market capitalization of approximately $12 billion is now traded internationally. What is $12 billion for a global currency? It's a guppy swimming in shark-infested waters. And every trader, every whale goes in there and just kicks that price around. So right now, the experience of living on Bitcoin, which I have been doing full-time for more than 3 years, is a roller coaster. It's an absolute roller coaster. I've seen shifts of 20 or 30% in a day. And yet, if you look at the long-term trend, volume goes up, transactions go up, and volatility keeps dropping. And the beauty of it is, I can't sell that to an American. I can't sell that to a Brit. I don't need to sell it to an Argentinian. I don't need to sell it to a Brazilian. I don't need to sell it to a Venezuelan. I went to a conference and an Argentinian told me, I'm not worried about volatility. Our currency has volatility like this. Bitcoin has volatility like this. I'd rather be going in that direction. And you don't need to tell them why. Their government threw people out of airplanes not more than 35 years ago for disagreeing. They already know why the separation of state and money is a good idea. And so volatility is relative.
Yep. So basically, in this video, they talk about supply and demand of Bitcoin and the risk and volatility, which can then be applied to any cryptocurrency we're talking about. So next, what do you think? So now I want to pose a question to you. What do you think contributes to the value of a cryptocurrency? Or what do you think contributes to the price of a cryptocurrency? Andre, you want to go first? Since you're running the ICO. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, as the guy said, is demand. So right now there's a demand because right now the stock market and forex is not very good. So a lot of people put their money into the alternative assets, which is cryptocurrency.
Hmm.
And because the other reason is because a lot of people cannot travel, right? So whereas Bitcoin and virtual currencies, you don't need to travel. You can still do the transaction.
Okay, so like how would you, let's say for the case of AppD, how would you ensure that AppD tokens is worth something or the price will not be so volatile?
One thing we do is that we plan to have a market making, and tokens can be exchanged for services. So that definitely will be quite different from Success Coin. Even though you buy tokens, then after that you don't allow them to use for anything, then that is a surefire way to drop. Yeah, because actually I'm a client of Success Resources. I enjoy some of their courses. Then so they also approached me to invest in a coin, but I said no. then yeah. No, because I didn't like the model. I mean, it's got to ask that question. Is the token can it be used to like go for classes and their own courses and stuff, right? Then they said no. Then I said, why should I buy a token? Then they said not happy with me. then I said that's too bad. Then I say I'll buy a course. After this.
They told me yes, they told me can be used. Then after that they went back on their word. Walao. Okay, never mind. I'll buy to support.
So I think they said yes. I don't say, but I suspect it's no. Because I don't know.
Yeah, they did not. Okay.
But I didn't buy in the end, for sure.
Let me ask a question. So if the timeline is slowed down, do you have any way to have you prepared for the event already? If the timeline is not fulfilled or there's a delay to the timeline?
Delay to the timeline.
Yeah.
I mean, what we do is that we'll definitely update the people that buy the tokens.
Okay.
And let's say the roadmap you change if that happens. We won't leave it just that.
Okay, just take note of that because once the coin is listed and there's delay to timeline, it might be a sensitive issue.
Oh no, I was talking about before the listed part. Yeah.
Yeah, before listed also a sensitive issue because you take money from the pre ICO rounds already. So
yeah. So far we haven't taken any money yet.
Yeah. So I mean, once you take money, just be careful.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Andre. Okay, next let's have Paul. Paul, you want to go next?
I actually for Bitcoin I can understand why people buy because it's like a store of value. But for ICOs, frankly, I still fail to see why people want to buy ICOs. Because I what value am I getting? I mean, when people say, you can exchange for services, but what type of services do I need the services? Yeah. So is it something I can easily buy from anywhere else? So that's something I'm still struggling with.
Actually, Bitcoin is the only cryptocurrency that does not have ICO. Like other currencies like Ethereum, Stellar Lumens, this and that, they all have ICO. So the services is like any services that has an app. So let's say you have Shopee, right? Shopee has an app, and the coin on Shopee app is called the Shopee coin. So Shopee coin is a digital coin that is not backed by blockchain. That's why it's not cryptocurrency. But it means that as long as you have a digital coin already in place in your ecosystem, you can actually run an ICO and convert it into cryptocurrency. So then with Shopee coin, you can like Grab Pay the money, right? They can actually use across their ecosystem. Yeah. So this is the technically the logic as to why people want to do their own ICO. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, to a certain extent, but I think there's a lot of people now coming out to launch their own ICOs. So the question is, I need to see the value that is adding. If not, it's just another coin. And why should I be changing my my dollars for such a coin? That's why I think there's a lot of like you mentioned a lot of scams around where people talk about dreams. They sell you the dream, but there's no reality or no fruition of that dream. Yeah.
Correct. You're very correct. One method that companies use to actually get people to trade their dollars for the coin is a prepayment method. That means, let's say, it's the same logic as any other prepayment system. So let's say you go into a salon and then they say, okay, why not you buy 10 hair treatment? One single session is 200. If you buy 10, we will charge you 1,500. So you have a $500 discount. So to get people to basically prepay for the token, which can then be used for products or services, it's the same logic. So they will give a discount. They will say that, okay, for 2,000 USD, you will get, if you buy now at early stage, you will get like 50% more token. So that translates to a quite high discount as well. So this is how they, promote it. How does, yeah, okay, good perspective. Okay, next is maybe Gabriel. So what do you think contributes to the value of any coin?
I think a lot of it is just around them selling the potential, the story behind why this coin is different. Yeah, I mean honestly, like what Paul was saying, like a lot of coins don't have like a unique selling point. They're just similar, like, but there are coins out there that they must pitch themselves as that they're different, even though they might not be, but to convince people that they have their value. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
People will feel like, they are getting a steal. Yeah, or you are buying Bitcoin at $30, that kind of thing.
Oh, that is a steal, and that's very suspicious. Okay, good. Okay, Dr. Sun, are you back already?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, awesome. So do you want to share a perspective on what contributes towards the value of the coin?
Okay, the first one is demand and supply. The second one is there an ecosystem? The third one is the operating environment of those who are buying it. Like, he talks about how if you're in Argentina or Venezuela and all of that. The other option is a currency which is so volatile that relative to the volatility of the currency, the coin is relatively stable.
Okay.
Okay. So what is your operating framework? What are you comparing to? So you talk about Singapore, so you talked about US and UK, and you can't really sell them that because they are comparing it to the volatility of their currency. Right?
Yep.
Then the issue about the ecosystem is the moment you are in an ecosystem, there is a frenzy to the ecosystem. So if you get everybody in the ecosystem excited, there's no logic anymore. So all the stuff that we talk about, logic and framework and all of that, is only when you're outside it and you're not in an emotional high. The moment you're in an emotional high, you can forget about logic. It's all about greed and emotions.
Hmm.
So the value of the coin is actually not logically driven.
Hmm.
Once you understand, I think we go back to some of the comments I've made about greed and belonging and fear of loss, and I want the kiasu kiasi mentality.
Hmm.
So I think those are the ones that really drive the value rather than the logic stuff. The logical stuff is the stories people tell you after they have been driven by greed.
Hmm.
And I think somebody mentioned about I don't see the value, and that's because when somebody doesn't see the value like that, they are looking for the logical stuff. And if you actually look at it, I don't think most people who buy the coins, maybe at the very early stages, but now those who are buying it are more driven more by the frenzy, not really by the logic.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sun.
Yeah.
Okay. Last but not least, John, what do you think drives the value of a cryptocurrency?
Now, personally, I think it's the novelty of it, I guess. You know, like what Dr. Sundara said about the frenzy, about everybody's into it, and so let's see what it can do for me. Maybe it might make me feel better. I might feel happy about it, and then you see how the things fall into place later. Yeah, the 2 cents worth.
Okay, thanks for sharing. Thank you. Okay, very, very good feedback so far. Yeah, it's absolutely correct. Like apart from logic, there's a lot of emotions. That's why the second part, right, we are talking about before. Okay, the second part of this lecture is on network effect, community building, PR, and marketing. So we will see why it's very important. Okay, so now let's continue on this theory or this law that gives a pretty good, I would say excellent, I'll say good because there are limitations, guideline to how you value your cryptocurrency. So Metcalfe's law, right, states that a network value is proportional to the square of the number of its users. So this law is one of the more popular ones. And before we do the community building and PR strategies, let's bear this law in mind. So basically, it was first derived to talk about telecommunication network. Let's say there are two phones, right? The communication is between phone A and B. So as more and more people own telephone and cell phone, there are a lot of permutations and combinations that they can talk to each other. Yeah, and then the third diagram shows that okay, there are even more methods like people can call each other, and now with Zoom, right, we can talk to each other, not only one-on-one, but so many people at the same time, up to 100, 1,000, 10,000. So basically, this framework is also applied to Facebook, like your social media network, is also applied to cryptocurrencies. Just replace your phone with cryptocurrency. Basically, the idea is that for transaction between A and B to occur with the cryptocurrency, let's say A hold your currency, B hold your currency, there's only one transaction. But the more people hold your currency, the more ways and permutations there are to do transaction. So how do you promote your ICO through PR and marketing? After developing your idea, writing a white paper, creating a token, like the 5-minute, 3-minute ERC20, launching a website, now it's time to promote and market. Okay, promotion and marketing is actually very important. Even in your, not just in cryptocurrency, in general, in content marketing, right? Let's say you write a very, very good content, it's only 20% of the work done. How you get your content out, right, is actually more important than the actual content creation itself. So promotion and marketing is 80% of the project success, if not more, because mass adoption is critical and crucial to increasing the price of tokens. Remember, like Metcalfe law, if you want your token to have more value and higher velocity of transaction, you need to have more users who hold your token. So promoting your initial coin offering is essential to find the right retail investors and coin purchasers for your business. You also don't want the wrong people to hold it because if you have the wrong people, too many of the wrong people who hold your token, they will just dump it after listing and then you'll get in trouble, even if you have a market maker. So make sure you have a considerable amount of money for PR and marketing activities before doing any ICO project. So you need to plan your PR campaign properly. Paid promotions, running ads on social media, search engine, and forum ads can increase demand for your project. So consider using like influencer marketing, especially for the crypto influencer, and video marketing as well. I have a question. Let me read. No wonder MLM is the fastest and probably most effective method. Precisely. So MLM is like MLM. The best thing about pairing MLM with crypto is that people get the idea immediately. Like MLM, they're so used to selling air, right? That it's like it's intuitive, man. It's like now it's even better because cryptocurrency in the eyes of the law is considered a digital good. So now I'm technically not selling air anymore. I'm being even more ethical by selling you a good. And the good like Bitcoin has value, and then I can even allude to the sudden rise of Bitcoin and say that my crypto has value because you see, just look at Bitcoin, blah blah blah. Yeah. So I think that's why it's doing so well in China. Okay, so community building via social media channels. Remember that the goal is to generate as much hype as possible so that many users will want to hold your coin. Oh, I love this. Yeah, I love this part of like cryptocurrency, ICO, blockchain industry in general, because this as a marketer, right? I'm trained in public relations. I have a master's in public relations from Finland. I love it, right? Because it is about generating desire. And this topic on generating desire is so interesting. Like how do you tell a story that make people want to desire to have your coin? That one is wow. And let's say okay, the other one is a bit like fishy, but okay, I'll say anyway. It's like even though you know the project is not very stable in terms of like the Bitcoin blockchain use case, right? The challenge to the marketer or the public relation is that how do you tell a compelling story that's so true to the roots of the product that people still want to hold your coin anyway? That one is really interesting. So typical ICO marketing channels, social media network like Slack, Telegram, you can actually Discord as well. You can communicate better with people who want to hold your coin. Why Discord, why Slack, why Telegram is because cryptocurrency have roots in gaming. So gamers usually they use your Reddit, your Telegram, your Discord. So it kind of got imposed onto marketing channel. So Quora and Reddit discussion can help your project grow, as there are many discussions on Quora or Reddit on ICO and cryptocurrency. So you can participate in, can do ask me anything, can encourage your users to ask and answer questions. Yeah, so Bitcoin Talk number 1 is a forum that everyone uses. If you launch an ICO, you have to use Bitcoin Talk. So it is widely used by ICO community and can help you grow your ICO community as you face positive and negative criticism that will help you improve your business. By the way, community manager have to manage all these lah. So they probably have to do all the social media very well. Number 2, remember not to spread yourself too thin. You need to think about your target audience and the social media they are most likely to be on. Okay, let me show you again. So if you are going to be on things like Slack, Telegram, Quora, Reddit, maybe Discord, it's going to be a lot. So, and when things don't go your way, people are going to call you a scam. And when person want to call you a scam, usually it will incite like this whole chain reaction of people calling people a scam lah. So you need to have like a good community manager to manage the expectations and moderate discussions in the social media. Okay, also number 3, be crystal clear about your target audience. Your community of retail investor is not the same as the community of end users for your product and service. So for AppD, right, your end users may be the people, family, close ones of the dementia patient. and they may or may not be your retail investors. Some retail investors, they just put money for fun because they think that the coin can times 10. You don't really give a damn about your service. So it's very important to be very clear about what each audience wants. The retail investor just want the coin to moon and increase in value over time. And the community of end users want the product. So it is very, very, very different, and it's very important not to get confused. I'm not saying this just in the sense of messaging. I'm saying it in how we put money also. So let's say if you want to put, let's say you have $100,000 to allocate, right? It would be wise to allocate more to get your retail investor in first, because they will give you more money. And then after your ICO is done and crowdfunding is finished, then focus on your end user. Yeah, we have to be very clear on the priority, because this one, I know one project that made this mistake. They wanted every fund to be raised to immediately go to the end users, which is a mistake, because in the end, they run out of money to do market making. I was annoyed because I was actually part of the project as well, but because they made this mistake, right, then I did not get my returns. So I was like, wow, very, very annoyed. And never mind, let's not talk about this. Okay, how to launch an ICO? So the sales result of your ICO depends on the market situation. The hype around your project matters a lot, because if it is high, it is likely to attract more people and investment. So never underestimate these two things. Like more people is more resources, and more resources can get you more ideas. Then of course, more money is good for your project, because you can then use the money to further your project later on in your roadmap. It's also very important to have a dedicated customer service officer or community manager to attend to the questions for the community before investing or contributing, because they need guidance and care. You also don't want to misrepresent. Misrepresentation is one of the worst things. Like they read something, and or rather you want to communicate message A, but somehow it was received as message B, and a lot of people think it's message B instead of message A. That one is very bad, because in the event that it goes to court, right, you'll be at a disadvantage. So all documents get a legal opinion. And also it is good to, as part of crisis management, right, before the crisis escalates, to actually have someone to mitigate it and soothe the emotions of people. It's really very hard. Okay, I'll give you an example. Ocean Protocol, right? Okay, the team is my friend. I used to go out with the PR director for lunch. So because we get along, okay. So this lady, so we go for lunch. So her name is Patty. So what happens is that Ocean Protocol, they actually did the ICO, and I think immediately after listing, the token price crashed. Yeah, that was nightmare for their community manager. Her name is Yvonne. It was nightmare because people was calling them scammers. People were saying that the developers were evil because developers ran with the money. Actually, they ran away lah. They actually I don't even know why it crashed, but it did crash lah. And they did not have a market maker, so it got very, very sensitive. And that's why a community manager in each social media channel is very important. So if your ICO campaign runs successfully, it's time to deliver and distribute your token. So you also need your community manager to provide the retail investors with regular updates related to your project. It cannot be like 3 months just silent. Like nobody likes that after I put in money. Or suddenly the coin price crash after the market maker, if the services are not used anymore. Then yeah, there's a need to make sure that people who hold your coin actually get their concerns heard. Okay, next part is listing. So list on exchange, right? It's important to consult with a cryptocurrency exchange and request them to carry your coin. Yeah, make sure you have enough money for listing, because all crypto exchange, they charge listing fees. So when you are introducing your tokens on a crypto exchange, you need all these to submit a request, because they will check, they will do the due diligence. Some of it, token name, coin trading symbol, sorry, typo here. Token logo, GitHub link. I highlighted GitHub link because if it's empty, right, there's no way they will list your token. Okay, you need some updates on the GitHub link, and it cannot be non-code update. It has to be some code as well. Description of product, project and token, link to official website, source code reviewed by a trusted third party. Means if you do just now the method of ERC20 by yourself, right, you need to get it audited by someone. So that's why I recommend go and get a developer to do, so that when audited by someone, you pass the audit. Okay, then your launch date and your compliance fee. Okay, next I want to talk about market making. So lack of liquidity after listing is a problem to everyone. So ICO issuers, they face a bottleneck to secure exchange listing. So basically, this means that this implies that they might not have money to do market making lah. Because if I spend 1 million to list on Binance, now 1 million is very cheap lah. So maybe 2 million to list on Binance, then I don't really have money to do the rest of the things really. Don't have money to do market making. So that is a lack of liquidity. So crypto exchange also face significant setup costs to list a new token because they need to do due diligence, they need to set up cold storage. So they will probably not take the risk to list a token if they are not sure about potential liquidity. What this means is that they will offer the ICO issuer a service of market making themselves, or they will outsource it to a third party. Yeah. So investors, market takers, they also very sian. I mean, if there's lack of liquidity, like every day only 2 people do transaction, then you will be very worried whether your price of the coin, will go up or not. Because the more little the people doing the transaction, the more unfavorable it is to any one of the participants, because it's easy to disrupt the market and the price. This is why you need a market maker. So market maker provide liquidity and make money by receiving market making fee and market spread. Market making fee is not cheap at all, so we need to be very careful here. Spread is the difference. This is a normal definition of spread. And then spread is how market makers make money also, apart from listing fee. So, sorry, market making fee. Market making fee is usually charged by month, and it depends on how people want to do price fixing. So this one need to allocate some budget to it. Next question is, will people actually is it ethical or is it legal to actually, as an ICO issuer, tell your retail investors that you are getting market maker? It's not illegal, but you're creating trouble for yourself. You do that because they will have additional expectations. Another method I learned from a very suspicious ICO company is that they actually get money in first. Let's say they raise 100,000 extra, right? They use the 100,000 to do market making, which is actually very risky, because once the 100,000 runs out, the coin price will just crash. So it is very risky. Okay, how do you secure your ICO from hackers and scammers? So hackers are always attracted to money associated with cryptocurrency, so you need to be very, very cautious. You need to secure the website, HTTPS. You need to listen to the community, because sometimes community will tell you, oh, there's this security concern, so must listen to them. And you need to check your code again and again. Pay careful attention to the functionality provided in your library contracts. Phishing is a very big issue. So what happens is that, especially for Telegram, right? Because I'm friends with a lot of people from Wirex as well. So when they were doing the IEO, there was a fake Wirex Telegram group. So a lot of people joined the fake one. And then the fake one grew until I think 4 or 5 digits in terms of members. So because if you own a fake ICO Telegram group that has 5-digit members, right, you can actually sell them, you can actually redirect them to a fake website. Then you just put the address on the fake website, and then you can just run away. Yeah, so this kind of thing will definitely happen. We need to do precautions first, like tell people like, oh, the admin will never text you first, or things like, oh, the official social media is this, and please do not go to like fake one, please check with the official website. So your social media names and URL needs to be on your official website. Educate your team on cybersecurity risk before ICO, and always use different passwords, which is very, very standard. And if you can, for your official wallet, implement your 2FA. So how to hold a successful ICO? Make sure you do brand squatting on all social media platforms. Brand squatting means like, if let's say AppDE, right? Basically, right now, today, before anything started, you need to go to Instagram, Facebook, Gmail, Discord, Reddit, and just take the name first. Because it is a very huge risk if someone were to take AppDE and then run the same ICO as you. People will think that they're the official channel, and then once they put their wallet address there and say they insist that they're official channel, then it's going to be very detrimental to your brand. So syndicates are always monitoring for new ICOs and the way to scam your target audience. So make sure you monitor them closely as well. Do so by daily Google monitoring for your brand. Basically, just set up Google Alerts. That will be very fast. Okay, number 3, very important. Make sure your GitHub is not empty, because an empty or seldom updated GitHub is very suspicious and look very scammy. Yeah. Ensure that you have enough funds to pay for all the associated costs related to the ICO. A lot of people just think it's tech. It's a myth to think it's just tech. Because if 80% of your efforts or success, right, comes from your PR and marketing, right, then shouldn't 80% of the resources at least go into your PR and marketing? A lot of people neglect that. Even if you don't have PR and marketing, right, you need to think of a way to at least sales commission. Let's say if the person brings in $10,000, maybe 20% commission goes to the person or something. Yeah, that would make sense. So if you don't have enough funds, make sure you have enough ways to raise money for the ICO. So you can use an MLM model that is totally workable, totally legal. And the only downside is that you need to, if you use the MLM model, you need to make sure how it does not affect your tokenomics if it's a legit project. If it's a scam project, right, then you can just run with it or whatever. It's just not ethical, not illegal. But the thing is that you need to make sure that you don't run out of money. It is a nightmare to run out of money in the middle of ICO. Nightmare, because it means that whatever before that, right, is already gone. Yeah, so usually bigger problems and pressures start after the token is listed, not before, especially for viable business project. It's probably easier to scam people and run. That's what they are saying. Because bigger problems are like if your things like after listing, people cannot cash out, people cannot get returns, they will be very furious, very angry, and that will affect how people treat your brand and your reputation. Okay, finally, conclusion. The competition for fundraising through ICO is increasing day by day. So it's important to plan to beat the competition. You really need to fine tune on what makes your brand unique, what makes your business proposition unique, why people should invest with you, things like that. And be very careful with the wording on your white paper. Try not to use the word invest, because that opens up a can of worms. Say something like buy, and don't promise any returns. If you promise returns, right, you're really shooting yourself in the foot. So at most you can allude to it, but don't promise specific returns. ICO promotion isn't an easy process, and it's important to have a solid plan before launching. And make sure you have enough money, because if you don't have enough money, best not to start. This is actually a very serious issue, because ICO is actually a marathon. You need to allocate at least 4 months to the pre-preparation. Yeah, the shortest is 4 months. Pre-preparation, you get money in, raise money, and then list. Yeah, shortest is 4 months. Usually people prepare for like, say, 8 months, 9 months. So for this purpose, be sure you have enough funds and dedicated partners before promoting your ICO. Fundraising is always an intense process, and crucial to ensure that all stakeholders' interests are aligned. That's the thing. Let me read that. Do I have a question? So 9 months pre-ICO is a norm. It's not the norm. It is a comfortable timeline. But it depends. You see, a lot of ICO, right, it is influenced by the environment. So if you can do an ICO in 1 month, not a problem. Like the useless Ethereum token, they did in 1 month. I think 3 weeks. Yeah. And they raised a lot of money, I think 400K USD, because of the environment. Then anyone is just putting money and things like that. The thing about this fundraising, right, is also who you're asking money from, because I noticed that I put money, like very small amount, like 1,000 USD, just to support friends. I mean, they did me a lot of favors, so it's just okay, I support whatever. Yeah. So it really depends on who you're asking money from. Like sometimes you don't even need ICO. If you are doing like private investor rounds, right, or like your angel funding, you don't even need an ICO to get money from retail investors. You just ask your friends, like, hey, support me. Then if everyone put 1,000, then you have 1,000 friends. You raise all money already. Okay, so the next question now is, okay, this is a money-making opportunity lah. The next question is DeFi the next ICO? This one got 2 levels to the question one, so you can just think about it. We can discuss next week. Currently the hype, right, is in decentralized finance. The tokens that times 10, 100, 1,000 is in decentralized finance. And last year at this time, really like 1 year ago, right, we were studying decentralized finance. We were studying Polkadot. We even have ties with Polkadot, okay? So, but I never buy Polkadot, which is very stupid of me, because I obviously know that it's a very important project. Yeah, that was a mistake. But anyway, the question is that whatever we talk about today, right, was the hype in 2017. So and it's repeating today again in another form, which is decentralized finance. So the question of if decentralized finance is the next ICO, right, is actually something we should be looking at, because at this point in time, it's a lot of hype in decentralized finance. So who is to say, right, a project will not actually occur now that will give you a 10 times or 100 times return in the next 1 year. So okay, so if you think about it, right, is that a question? Wait, I need a question. How to define? Okay, great. I'll read it. Thanks, John. I'll read it later. So the point here, right, is that this space, right, is it easy to make money? It's definitely easy to make money. You see, like you take, like you shortlist, let's say we shortlist 10 decentralized finance coins or associated coin. You just buy 1,000, oh, okay, then 1,000, 100 USD of it, right? I can tell you, right, at the end of next year, oh, okay, too long. At the end of like 3 months, you'll probably get more than $1,000, even though you put 100 USD in 10 coins. Yeah, because now it's so volatile. Okay, and another thing I want to encourage all of us, right, is that volatility is our friend, especially in crypto or all the emerging nonsense. All nonsense because some projects don't make sense, obviously. The thing is that if you do a due diligence and you see the kind of ecosystem and partners the decentralized finance organizations have, right? Yeah, the gains are actually very big. So it might make sense to go deeper into decentralized finance and see how it goes. Give an example. ICO, the hype, right, was in December 2017, January 2018, before it all went downhill, right? Now we are seeing a similar pattern. And Zilliqa, right, was started in August 2017, if I'm not wrong. So this kind of project, Zilliqa they already in the midst of the hype. So when it's going up, the Bitcoin price going up, right? Zilliqa was started like as it's going up. And then Zilliqa did very well. It's still doing very well today. So it's my personal belief, right? DeFi, currently you have Polkadot that's like moving like crazy. There's already one example of it. So now the trend, right, is like a lot of DeFi projects will just flood the market now. We are seeing talents being moved into decentralized finance industries. People are going into this industry now. So the next coin or some other coin that will times 10 times 20 times 30, right, is currently in the making or has not been made yet. So this is the area, if let's say you want to make money off speculation, right? This is the area to look at. If you want to do your own decentralized finance project, this is also the time to do it. Yeah. And the next question is whether ICO is already like passe or in the past is something we should think about as well. Like, because if people's attention currently are more into decentralized finance, why would they want to buy an ICO? That the opportunity cost is too high. So I hope the AppD people also go and think about it. Like, why should anyone want to buy an ICO when they can buy a decentralized finance coin? Okay, next Saturday is not last session. Next Saturday, we are going through trends. Then the next Saturday, we will do a last session, which is a summary of all the content here. Yeah. Okay, so for Wednesday tutorial, right? Well, design your own ICO and sell it to your peers. Your peers basically other people attending the tutorial or in the group. And you can use tips from today to actually design your own ICO. Okay, we end already. Do you have any questions before we close this session?
What are we supposed to do for the tutorial?
Yeah, tutorial is design your own ICO and sell it to your peers.
That means what, you present a deck or something in the tutorial?
Yeah, you can present one page. For your case, right, Andre, since you are going to run an ICO, right? AppD, you can just present AppD, and then the challenge is how are you going to sell it to us?
Okay.
So basically, challenge your AppD tokenomics. I mean, I will challenge your tokenomics. You want to other aspects also can. You want to sell us a story, sell us any marketing method, PR method, or show us any video. That would be great.
Okay.
So actually, this lecture and tutorial is planned for AppD one. Especially planned for AppD. I wasn't planning to have a lecture on like how to design an ICO, but since AppD is in, right, it will be interesting to see and to hear feedback also. Of course, for others, right, feel free to design your own ICO. If you want to replace the word ICO with design your own decentralized finance project and sell it to your peers, it's also very good. In fact, I would love it. Maybe I'll do it also. Yeah, maybe I'll do it also. Because if you see, if you can, from the perspective of an organizer, right, design your own decentralized finance project with the objective of maximizing the number of funds raised, right, then you will know how the organizer thinks. And then with that kind of perspective, you will know which decentralized finance project to put money in. And I already said that the next coin is probably in the making or haven't appeared yet. Will it be bigger than Polkadot? I think it might be. So yeah, this is a very good exercise to do right now, and it's a lot of money on. So we should do it well. Okay, I think I'll do something also. I will see how it goes. Yeah. Okay, if we do not have any questions just for today, we'll end today. So if you have any questions, just put onto the Facebook group. And really, I urge everyone to do next Wednesday tutorial because it's very important. Like, it's a very good money making opportunity to see the perspective. Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much and have a good weekend. It's raining now, so just stay safe in the rain. Thank you. Bye. Okay, let's stop the recording.